Good morning, everyone. My name is, thank you. Thank you for the shout back. My name is Nikki Otero Lockwood. I'm the board president for Spokane Public Schools. Thank you for joining us today as we reflect on this year's Engage in Real Life campaign. This initiative is more than just about attendance. It's about connection, belonging, and showing up for one another. Today, we'll hear from our education and community leaders who have helped to lead this work. And on behalf of the board, I want to express my deep gratitude for that work. And we also have some of the folks that do the work every day in the room. And so thank you to you all as well. This is so important what we're doing. 4 years ago, around this time, the board asked to take a closer look at who our extracurricular programs were serving. We wanted to understand how we could be more inclusive and expand access for all students. That request planted a seed. And what we see today is part of that growth. And we just finished with 13 graduation ceremonies over the last week. It is one of the most joyful things as a board member that I get to do. And our students speak at those. So their student stories and voices really reflected this sense of building community together. It was beautiful to listen to. So from this mama's heart and from my role as a board president, thank you. Thank you to everyone who's helped to make this real for our students. To all of you here this morning, your time and your presence matter. Investing in our youth is always a wise and powerful choice. Please continue to stay engaged and continue to build this community in real life. Okay, and with that, I would like to invite Dr. Swinyer to the podium.
Thank you, President Lockwood. Thank you for being here this morning. Thank you to our local media that's in attendance. We appreciate you carrying this story forward to our community. So last fall, we launched an initiative around every kid, every day being active outside of school. And we talked about how this current generation of student, really building up from 2008, we've seen a steady decline in their engagement. And that manifests itself in lots of different ways. It manifests itself in attendance, in engagement in school, and lots of different socio-cultural factors associated with that. One primary one being they're on screens way too much, and many kids are addicted to them. And we're seeing all sorts of outcomes that are trending in the wrong direction. So as a school district, we talked about what can we do and what can we do as a community. One part of that was shifting our cell phone policy so that we don't allow any cell phones in the classroom. And another key part of that is our Engage in Real Life initiative. Every kid, every day doing something after school, in real life, off of their screens, out of their homes, with each other, building connection and community. And one of the things we're really excited about to share with you is some of the outcomes that we've seen from that focus. And our success around this initiative has really been a true partnership. We're so grateful for the partnership of Launch Northwest, other community organizations, our staff that are committed to being coaches, advisors, encouraging kids, and then all the community members that step up to help make this happen. It's a lot of unique activities. That's what Spokane Public Schools have available to them. Over 1,000 different options for them to engage, whether it's a club, it's a sport, an event, performing art, so many different ways. And that's really been a key part of this, is making sure that with all the different students we have, almost 30,000, you need a wide continuum of things that are going to be interesting to them. It can't just be a sport or a performing art or a club. We need this huge eclectic continuum of things to say, oh, I belong there, or I belong here. That's where we really get the most synergy. You can see we've made some pretty steady progress since 2022, where we have a significant increase in the number of kids that are doing an activity after school. This gives us a lot of hope that when you focus on something, you can really move the needle for kids. You can see here we're up to over 60% of our kids are engaged in some type of activity after school. Huge increases, particularly at the middle school level. This is the one that's really exciting. This is the difference between kids engaged in an activity and kids that are not. Elementary, middle, and high school, kids that are engaged in an activity had 20% higher attendance, 20% or more. That's amazing. Communities would do an incredible amount of work to try to move it 5% or 10%. School districts around the country are spending millions of dollars to just move it a few inches. And we are moving miles by having kids engaged in activities. And of course, we can't prove causation, but that's an incredibly strong correlation between kids that are engaged and kids that are not engaged. It's making a difference. And we know that when they come to school, then they learn. And ultimately, we want them to graduate healthy and with the skills and knowledge to be successful. Impact on grades. Middle school students had 6% higher grades, and high school students had 10% higher grades from engaged or not engaged. Impact on a behavior. 64% decrease in misuse of social media, 31% decrease in failure to cooperate. Middle school lunchtime referrals down 60%. 60%. I spent a sizable part of my life supervising middle school lunch. Right? There's a lot going on. When we put the devices away, when we engage kids, when we start focusing on building relational connective tissue, good things happen. When kids are distracted by a screen, when they feel disconnected, when they feel isolated, that's where we see things going off course. Huge decrease in failure to cooperate. 57% decrease at middle school, 35% decrease at high school. So you can see those are just a few pretty powerful data points. It gives us immense hope and optimism that we're moving in the right direction, that we're focusing on the right things. There's so many different areas where we could put our time and investment. And sometimes this initiative can feel a little uncomfortable because we're taking resources and we're adding clubs, we're adding sports, we're adding performing arts, where maybe the traditional thinking is, well, we should buy nicer textbooks. And not that we don't love textbooks, and not that we don't love the different tools that we have in classrooms. We know that we can have the best instruction in the world, but if kids don't feel engaged, if they don't feel like they belong, if they don't feel connected, then all the best teaching and learning in the world isn't going to help them reach their potential. This is the right investment and the right focus for our community, and we should be incredibly proud of the progress that we've made. And we have school districts across our state, region, and country that are asking what's happening in Spokane. How did you get a 20% increase in student attendance? What did that look like? How did you go about it? How did you get the right people at the table? And I know you're going to hear from some of our speakers today of what it takes from a community leadership perspective to come alongside the school district for our kids. A couple of next steps. We have to ensure we keep building programming. We got to have more programming, more options for kids. We also need infrastructure. If you have great programming but no infrastructure, then you turn kids away. If you don't have enough fields, then you can't have as many teams, and as participation numbers go up, now we're turning kids away. You have to have programming and infrastructure, otherwise we're going to have to turn kids away, which we desperately do not want to do. We had a high school that had 5 C-Squad volleyball teams. They had a senior night for C-Squad volleyball. The flowers, the posters, the grandparents, the family members celebrating. That is a moment that would only ever been excluded to just kids that are on varsity. Now we're expanding that celebration and expanding that involvement, but it takes having spaces to do it. We need to continue this conversation. Everywhere people look, whether you go to the library or whether they go to the dentist or to see the doctor or in any other community center or space, everywhere we look, we need to be messaging that value that every kid every day should be doing something outside of school. And we have amazing community options in our community organizations. We have great school district options. Let's get kids continue to focus on that. And then the last, and you're going to hear about this today, we need to take on the next part of this discussion, and that is kids are not sleeping. They're not going to bed. We did action research in one of our elementary schools, and we asked them how many kids that had an issue with their behavior today, we asked them what time they went to bed. So we had elementary school, principal, Any kid that has a challenge with their behavior, ask them what time they went to bed. At the end of the day, the principal called me with the results of her study. 100% of the students at that school that had a problem with their behavior that day reported that they went to bed after 12 or 1 o'clock. They're not sleeping. And I worry, and I think we can make some assumptions. Why are they not sleeping? I think they're staring at a screen. They're taking their phones to bed with them, or they're on the game. The American Pediatric Society really says that 9 hours is the gold standard. I think we should all be really concerned about what percentage of our kids showed up to school today with less than 9 hours of sleep. If they're going to be the best version of themselves, and if they're going to be healthy and happy and have the energy to be engaged after school in real life, they need to go to bed. And so we need to have that conversation as a community, and that is harder than it sounds because kids are addicted to screens, and I'm a dad too. Pulling that device out of their hand is no small task. And so we need to talk and support each other as a community around sleep. So amazing progress. We have come so far, and we should be so proud of what we've done as a school district and as a Spokane community. And we got to continue to ask ourselves, what's next? How do we do better? And how do we continue the progress? With that, I'd like to introduce Ben Small, the Executive Director of Launch Northwest, who has been such an important partner with us in this initiative. Ben?
Thank you very much, Adam. Thank you to our Spokane Public Schools for being great partners in this. Partnership and partnering is hard. It's so much easier to narrow your focus and do it yourself. And when you narrow your focus and do it yourself, you limit your impact. And we believe that through our partnerships and our partnerships with Spokane Public Schools, the batteries fell out. I don't think there's anybody else going to use it. So it's stuck right there. Oh, I break a lot of things. You know, we announced in August this bold, audacious goal of Engage in Real Life. And this notion that we could make a difference in the lives of our youth and our families, and that we could do so in a way that had a community impact. And at that time, I really wanted our community to know that this is more than just a campaign. This is more than a website. This is more than media. This is more than signs. But this is a call to action. And I really want you to think today of not an initiative. I want you to think of this as a movement. And there's a difference between an initiative and a movement. A movement happens when there's enough people, a critical mass of people say, we're all in. When enough of a community says, we want better. And a movement truly is a group of people working together to advance shared goals. Right? That becomes a movement and not just an initiative, not just a program. We invite every single one of you, every single one of member of our community to say, how do we do something different for our young people? How do we improve the mental health of our young people? How do we improve attendance? How do we improve across all outcomes for kids? I would like to thank some people today that I think have been critical in this piece. First of all, the funders of Launch Northwest. They had the foresight to invest in the Launch Northwest initiative. The city of Spokane, this would not happen without the city of Spokane. We thank you so much for your investment and faith in us. And Spokane County. Both invested in this in real life initiative. You know, Adam talked about structures, and sometimes people think of structures as only things. but there are also structures that are not things, structures that are actually relationships, structures that are actual people doing work. And we knew that if we were going to, in long conversations with Adam, we knew that we were not going to make a difference unless we created the structures in which people could work, where the structures and where they could make connection. And so we said, hey, let's create this new crazy position in Spokane Public Schools called Engagement Navigators. And our engagement navigators work with families every single day to connect them to the activities that their kids are going to thrive in. And so would our engagement navigators just stand and be recognized? And then we said, you know what, there are other partners in this community outside of our schools that we need to partner with. And we need to say, how do we make sure that every child in our community has a culturally responsive activity? How is it that we take this notion just from the traditional engagement activities and how do we move that into our communities? And so we've formed partnerships with Feast World Kitchen, River City Youth Ops, Manzanita House, Carl Maxey Center, Latinos in Spokane, Nueces Raices, Glow Children Learning Center, Shades of Motherhood, RAISE, and Refugee and Immigrant Connections. This group of people meets to talk about the barriers that our families have towards engagement in after-school activities. We meet bi-monthly and we have conversations, and some of the best conversations are the ones where there's no agenda, where they just talk about what are they doing and where do they connect and how can we do better. Would those of you from those organizations please stand? I really would appreciate it. Oftentimes we focus in systems change, we focus around the program or the resource, and we forget about relationships and power dynamics and the mental models we all carry about the world that we're in. And if we're going to make a difference, we have to be able to work in each of those spaces to make sure that our children have a bright future. You see, Engage in Real Life is about creating a system in our community that supports youth, that supports healthy families, that supports the opportunities for them to express themselves in a way that they don't necessarily do just in a classroom, but it captures their spirit, their passion, and the essence of who they are. I would like to recognize a couple of people in the audience today. Suzanne Schmidt, Representative Suzanne Schmidt, thank you very much for being here. Board Member Hillary Koza. And then we also have other partners in the room, and I see Brian Newberry from Girl Scouts of Eastern Washington and North Idaho. Is that your region? There's so much that we have to celebrate in this community. It doesn't happen without leadership. And that leadership for us in the work that we're doing comes from, I think, a person who is very much committed to youth and families in this community. Please welcome Mayor Lisa Brown.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks, everybody. It's great to be here. It's fun to look out and, as Ben said, see friends, see educators, see community partners. I see elected officials from both sides of the aisle. I see Councilmember Kitty Klitsky out here. I see people who are, young people who are part of our future. Excited to see y'all in the back. Hey. So the city of Spokane is all in on this, and we are thrilled with Engage in Real Life, and we're so pleased by the leadership of Superintendent Swinyard and the school board, and Launch Northwest and the other community partners that have come together for this. It's not only about a commitment to the health and safety of our kids, but it's also about the long-term investment in this city. And we have experienced things we need to come together around and over and transcend, right? Economic challenges faced by so many of our families. The pandemic and the disruption that it had on us. The emerging technologies and media platforms that we're all still coming to terms with and are not regulated appropriately for our kids yet. Political polarization, you name it. There's a lot of fractures out there. But Engage in Real Life is our path forward. And I'm gonna up Ben Smallone on this, because he went from, this is not just an initiative, it's a movement. I'm gonna take it one step farther. I think it's going to be part of our identity as the city of Spokane and as the region that we're in. Our identity should be about who we are. We know we're about our river, and you'll hear more in a minute from Garrett, our parks. This year we declared this the year of the neighborhood, our 29 neighborhoods. And think about it, what does it mean if you live in a city, and let's face it, we talk about community a lot, but this is a city, it's a big city. It's one of the 100th biggest cities in the country. So what connects you when you live in a big city? Your neighborhood, your school, your community center, your parks, your relationships, the clubs and organizations and faith communities that you belong to. That's what holds us all together. And we are taking that very intentionally in Spokane. We're calling this the Year of the Neighborhood. You're going to hear about the One Spokane initiative that makes investments in every school, every park, every neighborhood in the city. And Engage in Real Life works. And it's about our kids, but it's multi-generational. We were just named one of the best places to retire. And that fits in very well with Engage in Real Life, because those retirees can be part of it as a coach, as a mentor, engaged in a chess club, engaged in a music or performing arts activity. And so that multi-generational engagement that educates us all. I am a product of that from a challenging, economically challenged household with a lot of kids. School activities got me going every day. The newspaper, the French club, those kinds of things really, really are what makes a difference. So we're happy to be a partner. I don't want to steal our line, but I gotta have to. So I know Council President Wilkerson's gonna say in Spokane we all belong, but let's say it. It's part of our identity that we all belong, every kid belongs, every family member, and by creating these connections through the infrastructure and the programming, that's what is going to be knitting us together into communities that are part of a city. So thank you so much. And we're excited about this partnership. Can't wait to hear more about sleep. It's a good one. I'm taking this back to my cabinet as well.
A little bit different mic position there. Good morning, it's a pleasure to be here today. My name is Garrett Jones and I'm the director, have the privilege to be the director of Spokane's Parks and Recreation Division within the city of Spokane. And even though we've been working alongside this initiative, I think we're all still amazed of the results that we're seeing here today in this short period of time. I think it does speak to the need that the community has and the hunger for the activity, the connection, something positive that brings us all together. I think the results speak for the power of partnership. If everyone was trying to do this work alone, these results would be far less. By all contributing to the shared vision, look what's possible. In the spirit of this vision, our Together Spokane, a joint initiative between the City of Spokane Parks and Recreation and Spokane Public Schools, will have 2 ballots on the November election that are 2 initiatives but 1 vision. And the power of partnerships, if both these visions come true and pass, we're able to invest in 30 additional projects across the City of Spokane that we weren't able to do alone. That means, like the mayor mentioned, every neighborhood, every park, every school ground has that improvement and investment in the neighborhood. We heard to the community as well that they needed this. They wanted this collaboration. They wanted this vision. They wanted agencies working together. And this is a tried and true model that really started in 1945 between the City of Spokane and Parks and Recreation, of investing joint funds, of making our gyms bigger spaces across our communities so we could have more after-school activities. This also is a model where we share field spaces, indoor facilities, programming, and it's an end list of what we can do in the future. It's also an opportunity to jointly work together around maintenance, safety efforts, take better care of what we have, and then invest in those spaces and the demand that we're seeing. I'll give one example in a small little pocket park in West Central neighborhood, Dutch Jake's Park. We had a petition that came to the City of Spokane a number of years ago where the neighborhood said, we want you to take away the park and fence it. Now that was an opportunity to either say, we give up, or an opportunity to say, we want to take back our public spaces. And the power of community interacting with community, neighbors actually speaking to neighbors, getting the youth in the local elementary schools involved of what your future public park could look like, engaging with public safety. And through that engagement, investing, like Dr. Swinyard said, in that infrastructure, and then activating that space, that truly then changed that identity of that neighborhood. So taking those building blocks, it's amazing what you can do when you take those 4 elements to see that positive success in our community. It's also about working upstream. Studies show youth that are connected to activities and communities have positive interactions with adult mentors through activities, clubs, sports, and then have lower rates of depression, improved physical health, and are also more steadily to be employed as adults. They develop tremendously around emotional growth. When we saw during COVID in Parks and Recreation, youth weren't interacting with youth anymore, and we saw those impacts. It's amazing what you can learn on a playground when you're interacting with your peers. The community has said that all ages need to have safe, healthy public spaces to recreate and interact with one another. And Together Spokane not only builds on those successes that we have jointly done since 1945, but it also expands on that demand that we're seeing today and also maintaining our spaces, what we currently have. A recent Trust for Public Land survey showed that about 40% of people said they wanted to spend more time outside, more than any other place. And that is a place where they find joy. So here today, gathered in this area, where we park today, this school grounds, the community doesn't care whether it's City of Spokane property or school district property. So this is an example of the type of future and the investment in this facility and Franklin Park of that we can really create this regional hub of positive activation for the community. So I'm proud of what we can accomplish together. I'm proud of what has already been accomplished and look forward to what's next for Spokane. So with that, I'd like to introduce Dr. Mason with the WSU College of Nursing. Go Cougs.
Well, good morning, and thank you so much for inviting me to come and talk today. My name is Ann Mason, and I am with Washington State University College of Nursing. I am the acting dean there, but I'm speaking from another hat, which is the hat of a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner who treated children, adolescents, and worked with their families for over 15 years. I'm honored to join all of you in speaking about ways to continue to build strong and healthy habits in our youth. I thank you for recognizing the tremendous progress that has been made and how supporting Spokane Public Schools and Launch Northwest efforts will continue to improve the health of students and families in our community. We celebrate today the success of Engage in Real Life, a powerful initiative that has encouraged students and families across Spokane to put down their phones, any screen really, and prioritize real-world connections through movement, play, conversations, and simply being present with one another. These efforts are not just a feel-good. They are a must-do. They are a foundation for lifelong well-being. Looking ahead, we're excited to share with Engage in Real Life that they will focus on improving one of the most overlooked elements of health, and that is getting good sleep. Getting enough sleep isn't just about rest, it's about restoration. From my years as a psychiatric nurse practitioner, I have witnessed how directly sleep is linked to emotional resilience, physical health, and academic performance. When children consistently get sleep they need, they are better able to manage stress, concentrate in the classroom, and engage in their physical activity opportunities. They also experience fewer mood swings, recover from illnesses more quickly, and demonstrate stronger memory and problem-solving skills. Just as important, we know that sleep is a cornerstone of mental health. Without it, even the most supported high-potential students will struggle to thrive. Helping our children develop good sleep habits is one of the most impactful ways we can nurture their overall well-being. A growing body of research has underscored this connection, that children and teens who are consistently insufficiently sleeping are significantly more likely to experience symptoms of anxiety, depression, and emotional dysregulation. Data from the CDC indicates that adolescents who sleep from less than 8 hours on school nights are nearly twice as likely to report persistent feelings of sadness and hopelessness compared to their well-rested peers. Moreover, sleep deprivation has been linked to impaired cognitive function, reduced attention span, and lower academic performance. Longitudinal studies, those are the long-term studies, have found that students with poor sleep habits score lower on overall standardized tests and have diminished problem-solving abilities on those tests. Sleep plays a critical role in memory consolidation, meaning that students who are sleep deprived may struggle to retain and apply the knowledge that they have learned in the classroom. Helping our children develop good sleep habits is one of the most impactful ways that we can nurture their overall well-being. Interventions such as consistent bedtime routines, limiting that screen time before bed, and advocating for later school start times have all been shown to improve sleep duration and quality. These changes not only improve academic achievement and behavior, but they build stronger social relationships. This is, of course, easier said than done. In a world dominated by smartphones and 24/7 connectivity, setting healthy boundaries around screens, especially before bed, is a real challenge. But this is where we come in as adults. Caregivers, educators, parents, guardians, we all have a role and responsibility and opportunity to role model better behaviors for our children and youth. We are the leaders of healthy habits and in the lives of the children that we engage, and that means creating screen-free spaces, establishing those bedtime routines, and showing our kids by example that rest is not an option, it is essential. So together with Engage in Real Life, we are laying the groundwork for a healthier, happier future for all our students. By expanding our focus on sleep, we are taking another critical step towards every child reaching their full potential. Children who sleep well thrive. So today, this is your prescription to remove the screens, TV, iPad, computer, cell phone. They do not need to be in the bedroom at all, and I know that's a hard statement to make, but it's a powerful one. Thank you very much. And I have the pleasure to introduce Betsy Wilkerson from Spokane City Council.
All right, good morning, Mustangs. Are there some Mustangs in the room? Woohoo, right in the back. Good morning again. My name is Betsy Wilkerson. I am Spokane City Council President, and I am honored to be here and be part of this. A little history. I was with the Innovia Foundation almost 10 years ago when the idea of Launch Northwest was formed. And I can tell you as a board member, we thought this is the craziest thing ever, and we will never get it off the ground. But here we are now in this partnership. So thank you, Ben, for stepping up and shepherding that work. Dr. Mason, were you talking to us about this sleep thing for all the adults in the room? I just want to make sure, because some of that was resonating with me. When Dr. Swinyer talked about the robust discussion of sleep, I was looking at some of the adult faces in the room, and there was some eye rolling, head bowed down, and thinking, So you don't have to confess, I will on your behalf. I had my cell phone in my bed with me last night. Thank God I did not roll over it and break it, or maybe that would have been a good thing. So as we do this work, we have to model what we want our kids to see. But this is the question I have for you this morning. We talk about in real life. What does that mean? What is in real life? It got my mind thinking, like, is that how I grew up? Is that today how my grandkids are growing up? So the reality is, in real life is unique to every individual and to all of our students. And our role, to me, as adults, is to support what that in real life experience is. And adults, we gotta take a step back and talk about our in real life experiences as well, because we've kind of put them to the side a little bit. So I am excited that we are here. The school district and the parks, and everybody's doing a great job. But as a grandmother of 3 who drive me crazy, I know I have a role to play in this, right? Parents have a role to play. If there are any grandparents in the room, you know you got a role to play, at least transportation-wise, and maybe an ATM machine as well. So that is my new role in life. But the exciting part is we are here. And the exciting part, this is actually visionary. On city council, we say a lot where Spokane leads, everybody else follows, because we do a lot of things that are out front. And this is just another one of those things. So the excitement is real. Mayor, you're right. We want to be defined by this. There are a lot of things we can be defined for, but investing in our children, investing in our resources, investing in the amenities, investing in the support that this is going to take to continue it on, so it won't just end here. It's going to take all of us. And every one of us is a key player in this in real life experience. So with that being said, I want to say on June 22nd, the city is hosting Kids Day at Riverfront Park from 10 to 8 p.m. All the rides are free. If you're 12 and under, adults bring your money, but all the kids who are 12 and under, come down and let's kick off the summer with this in real life experience. Let's have some fun. Let's put our phones down. I meant to bring my phone so I could say, put it down. Put it down. So get excited. It's the end of the year. How many school days do we have left, Mustangs? 5.5. All right, are you guys excited about that? Are you ready for the summer? Yes. Are you ready to do something fun? Yes, all right. In real life, let's be supportive, let's show up, and let's get it done. And say it with me. In Spokane, we all belong. In Spokane, we all belong. Thank you.
I just want to thank all of you for being here. I will tell you one of the most important things that we have when we're talking about community partners right now is my PTO. I have PTO here. If you're a PTO member at Madison Elementary, please stand. Thank you. Partnerships are super important, and another thing that I get to share with you is we have a student leadership that is very strong. You'll see them over here. And it's 4th and 5th graders that are committed to what the mission is at Madison and continuing our work with communities. So a special group of kids are going to come up right now and just share with you what our after-school programs and our extracurriculars are like. We are a smaller school, and a lot of my kids, we are a Title I school, wouldn't maybe necessarily have the opportunities without our after-school clubs that we have now. So if I can get Liza and Hadley to come up here.
Who wants to go first?
Okay, Liza's going to start first, and she'll introduce herself to you.
Greetings, everyone, especially our honored guest. That feels very fancy to say. I'm Liza Starwalt from Student Leadership here at Madison, and I'm very excited to share some benefits of after-school clubs. I have participated in several different clubs, and I feel they are a great way to meet and socialize with new people. I have participated in clubs such as tumbling, dancing, cheer club, cross country, and some more. But most importantly, they allow me to have fun. I love spending time with others who share my interest, and it's very important to form friendships outside of the classroom. You interact with people who you have seen but don't really know that well, or even folks from completely different grade levels. Clubs are an amazing way to have fun outside of technology, in real life. Participants get to socialize in a fun, safe, and familiar environment with the people they see every day, because social doesn't just mean social media. My advice to every student is this: please think about trying a club next school year, because who knows, with one signature on a permission form, you might meet a new bestie or unlock an opportunity you didn't know existed. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Hadley Jordan. I am the president of student leadership here at Madison Elementary. I would like to share how after-school clubs have had a positive impact for my classmates and myself. After-school clubs provides us the opportunity to learn in a fun way. It teaches us how to interact with students from different classes and grade levels. After-school clubs give us a break from technology. It helps parents and kids because if parents need to work late, then their child can be at a club having fun. Finally, clubs provide a variety of new learning opportunities and physical activities. These are just a few ways after-school clubs benefit us. Thank you.
Thank you, Hadley. Thank you, Liza. And then Mr. Ben Small, you get to come back up and finish up.
So just a couple of observations from our presenters today, our speakers. Sounds to me like the new initiative next year in Spokane Public Schools is nap time K-12. We'll buy the little things that they roll out and nap on. I guess one of the things that I would like to end on is this notion that this is about a community coming together differently than we have for our children. And it means that each of us has to take an action. You know, if every parent at Madison Elementary School said we're going to make sure that our children don't have cell phones in their bedrooms, then when students came to school and said, hey, I can't have my cell phone in my bedroom, every child would know that that's what's happening across the entire school. What if it's a priority across an entire community? What if that priority is that we're going to focus on our young people? That's the call to action. That's the movement. That's, I think, the definition of who we need to be in Spokane. And I think that Mayor Brown so eloquently stated that. Thank you for being here, for being interested in the work that we are doing. And we invite you to engage with us as we continue this work. Have a wonderful afternoon.